Hi guys, Harry here, and welcome to my breakdown of Doctor Who Redacted Episode 7, Requiem, which is just insane. But before we get into the video, don't forget to subscribe, also leave a like and comment down below, and let's get into the video. So, Requiem starts with a kind of ad that Shauna plays for Cleo from Abby's laptop, and it's kind of weird. It's very weird because Requiem is the group, but Requiem is also the person, played by Don McInchin. Sorry if I butchered that. But it's weird because it's an advert for like a self-help type of group, and as it says, Requiem says it's a plague of loneliness, and there's also mentions of if anyone has information on the Doctor, they have 10% off in the group. So obviously, they have to pay to get in that Zoom call, but it's also to help them with the people they've lost. So it's kind of weird. And when Cleo brings up that Requiem mentioned the Doctor, that Shauna still can't remember the Doctor, and it's weird because Requiem, as we get into the episode, she describes certain things like that in your culture, or as you would call. So is she an alien? Is she a human? Is she some sort of future person? Is all very weird. However, it's most likely that Requiem is in London, as she says. It will start 7 PM GMT, which is obviously Greenwich Mean Time, which London runs on. And then Cleo is a bit apprehensive about going to the meeting because she's like, well, what if they I say my brother's just disappeared, someone will come and lock me up before you can mention alien fetus in a jar. And that is the 4th time in this series Cleo has mentioned an alien fetus. It's she's got a fetish with it. I mean, maybe I'm reading too much into it, but she had mentioned it 4 times. Why do you keep needing to bring it up? I know there's a load of in sci-fi media, but it's just weird. Anyway, after Shauna and Cleo decide to go to the Requiem meeting, before they do, Shauna's nan phones up, voiced by Claire Perkins, who was we last heard in episode 3, Lost. And Cleo picks up, and they have a conversation. Cleo's like, shall I get Shauna? And Shauna's nan is like, no, it's alright, just tell her to call me back. And she's like, is everything okay with her? And then Cleo explains that Shauna had a fight with Abby, and Shauna's nan knew something was up to her after she obviously ran off to Glasgow with Cleo in Angels to help to get in contact with Abby to help find out what had happened to Cleo's brother Jordan. And picking up from that episode, Shauna's nan says, oh, I just wish she would find a nice lesbian and settle down. And even though Cleo probably knows that Shauna wants to be with Abby and that will be her ideal thing, she says, yeah, I wish that too. As Cleo just wants her friends to be happy, and I mean, Abby already has a boyfriend. However, Shauna's nan that knows people have gone missing, as she mentions it, so obviously there's still quite a lot of people missing for Shauna's nan to bring it up. However, Shauna's nan also has a nice conversation with Cleo, where Shauna's nan asks Cleo about her mother. So maybe the 3 girls are friends, but also their families have grown closer as well. with how much time they've been spending together. However, Cleo says that she doesn't really talk to her mum. Again, the thing of, did Cleo's mum push out Cleo's dad? Did she do something to Cleo's dad? However, Shauna's nan presses on and says, why is it complicated, Cleo? And Cleo, along the episodes throughout, especially in the last few episodes, and even in this one, has been thinking that she was wrong about her mum, and that her mum had something to do with it less and less. And I think it's really nice as Cleo is finding out that her mum isn't necessarily a bad person, and it's just the things in life that happen, and the things in life that define us, and you need to roll with it. However, I think that it is nice that Cleo's nan is just a really nice person, as she was a bit stereotypical about Cleo to Shauna in Lost, but it's really nice that she just puts that aside, her own stereotypes, and we'll have a nice conversation with Cleo and try and build her up, it's not her fault that she thinks this about her mum. And then we see where Shauna was when Cleo was on the phone to her nan, and it turns out that she is listening to a saved message from Abby, with Abby explaining that they had talked earlier in that day, and she was asking her out for a coffee. So maybe this is shortly after their first meeting, as Abby describes her as the alien girl who from earlier, and also where her dorm room is in uni. So this is still in uni. This is still early days. Again, maybe the first call Shauna ever got from Abby. And Shauna still can't let it go, as it says, would you like to save the message, hear it again, or delete it? And Shauna decides to save the message. And it's a lot that Shauna can't let it go, because of course we saw from Cleo and Shauna's nan's perspective that how much this has on Shauna's life, and Shauna still can't move on from Abby. And then we get a phone call to Cleo again, with Abby phoning Cleo, and Cleo again still furious with Abby for choosing Unit over Shauna and Cleo. And Cleo goes on to say that really the only family she has right now is Shauna and Abby, and is heartbreaking because again her brother's been redacted, her mum, she doesn't talk to her, and her dad is maybe dead, and Unit might have had something to do with it. So it's like really, it shows how much Abby has hurt Cleo in choosing Unit over them. And then Shauna then comes out from the bathroom listening to the message that she had from Abby, and she notices that Cleo has been crying, probably after the phone call she had with Abby, where this was like the only family that she has, and it's a big thing, as I said, Cleo is the only family she has right now are Shauna and Abby. Okay, let's skip ahead a bit. I'll go over Abby first, because she has the smallest part in this episode, really. Abby is still with Unit, and they are running tests on this creature. It looks like a person that is making a terrible screaming noise. The scream, I think, sounds a bit like the Galf ghosts when they take over a body, so it could be the Galf. However, Abby says this is from a parallel reality, and Osgood says this is from a parallel reality, and Abby thinks she can see a person. However, Osgood says that the equipment they have running scanning that there is nothing there. However, Abby thinks that Unit are hurting it because it sounds like a scream. However, the Galf, that was just their gaseous form, and what they did to trick the Doctor into helping them. And also the equipment running on scanning it and it being from a parallel reality is maybe the Cybermen, because as we saw in Army of Ghosts and Doomsday, the ghosts were actually Cybermen, and they did look like humans. As a quote from the 10th Doctor goes, a footprint doesn't look like a boot. So, however, even though they do look humanoid, they could still be Cybermen. And the sphere in Army of Ghosts and Doomsday couldn't be identified. Torchwood was scanning it, and it was like nothing was there, even though they could see it. And Osgood and Abby even bring up ghosts. And of course, so this is a big thing, how the Galv were basically possessing dead people, so they were ghosts, and the Cybermen came through this reality through the disguise of ghosts. However, Osgood says this is for the world's own good, as if they don't find out what is happening with all this redactedness, London and every other city will cease to exist. And she brings up Paris, Rio and Hong Kong. However, this is big because there's been no mention of cities or other places disappearing. So this is making it so this redactedness is on a massive scale. So back to Shauna and Cleo. They go to this Requiem Zoom call that starts with 20 people, but Requiem has her camera off, so we don't know what Requiem looks like. And again, this could be a sound fill, so we don't even know what her real voice could sound like, or whether it is her or a human in general. Requiem, the word, means it's mostly in the Catholic Church. It is like a mass for the repose of the souls of the dead, so like a rest, like a service for the dead souls, or a musical composition for the Requiem Mass, or a act or token of remembrance. And I think this last meaning, an act or token of remembrance, is really what Requiem is trying to achieve here. And many times she says, don't just lock it away. You got to remember them how they were, but your mind is making sure it's a survival instinct that you don't remember what it could be that is making these people disappear, so you won't disappear either. So is Requiem a good person or not? However, she does bring up a weird point. Requiem says that she has experienced loss exactly like the rest of the people in this Zoom call, because why would they be here if they hadn't experienced loss? And she says it is the price we pay for mortality. And that is weird. So, because, yeah, there's been people like, obviously, the Time Lords that can regenerate really as many times as they like if they keep getting regeneration cycles granted to them. There are also people like Captain Jack Harkness who are immortal now, and is a big thing that... Is Requiem immortal, actually? Or does she have a time span on her? It's like people can only live like some creatures like mayflies. I think the family of blood in Doctor Who was compared to mayflies, that they only live a few months, whereas the Doctor can live hundreds of thousands of years, exactly like Captain Jack Harkness as well. So it's really weird that Requiem brings up this comparison of mortality. Requiem goes on to talk about paying a price of their life, as Requiem compares the Doctor to grief, saying, it will never leave you. So of course, who she was talking about was the Doctor, and that the Doctor will never leave you, that this, all these people who are being redacted is because of the Doctor, because they remember the Doctor, because the Doctor had something to do with their life. And again, the Doctor has touched so many people's lives, and they don't even know exactly how Martha Jones said it, and also how new Doctor in the next Doctor, he said it. It's like Jackson Lake. It's just it's just the Doctor has touched so many people's lives and they don't even know. However, Requiem says, remember the people you've lost, so they never disappear. And this is a thing that people can apply to real life. Even if your friends or family have gone, whether it be like a cousin, an aunt, an uncle, your parents, like a pet even, like don't just forget about them. Remember them and remember them how you would want to be, and then they'll be in your mind always. However, we hear all these people go along describing how they have been affected in their lives. And we get a couple of actors here that have appeared in Doctor Who before, on obviously on what they have been through in their life. First up is Kieran Hudson. Hopefully I got that right. Sorry if I butchered that. But he has played a Sergeant Roberts in Interrogation. So of course that was the guy who threatened Cleo, Abby and Shauna with the gun when they found out that they were being interrogated by UNIT. He has also played Dr. Anthony Sinclair in Recruits, which is of course the doctor who was in charge of the recruitment video at the start of episode Recruits. Next up is Kieran Hudson, who has voiced Dr. Oliver Morgenstein in episode Hysteria, who was, of course, the Doctor in Smith and Jones, who was followed by the Jadoon, but again, this was a different voice than the actor who played him. He has also voiced a police officer and other additional voices in Angels, and he has also made appearances in many Big Finish audio dramas with the 2nd, 4th, 6th and 10th Doctor. So of course he's had a bigger role to other Doctor Who media than the rest of these people. And next up we have Natasha Hudson, no relation to Kieran Hudson, and she has voiced the receptionist in Hysteria, so of course the receptionist when Cleo went to see Rani in this hotel, and also she has voiced Jill, Cleo's boss, in the episode Lost. So she has a big like both these characters have interacted with Cleo probably the most out of all of these people that we see, so she might come back in some way. Next up we have Chen, who has voiced additional voices in Hysteria, and he has also voiced Joel in Recruits. Of course, the person, like the person who also worked in UNIT, that was with Shauna and Cleo, showing them how to catalogue stuff, as well as he also wrote that episode, Recruits. So, as well as voice acting, he does writing as well. And next up we have Ambika Mod, hopefully I made that right, sorry if I butchered it, and she has provided additional voices in SOS, of course the first episode, which introduced us to the wide world of Doctor Who Redacted. And then we have Cynine Kelly, who I haven't found has appeared in any other Doctor Who media, just Requiem. So all these people speak up, describing what they've been through in their lives and what has brought them to Requiem. Ellie describes that what has brought her here is she's having nightmares, but she can't remember what's causing them. She's even telling people that she thinks something terrible has happened, but they don't believe her. And this is maybe a reference to the End of Time Part 1 and 2, where the Master, John Sim, is giving the whole world nightmares, and this is to implant himself so he can change them into the Master race in the End of Time, at the End of Time Part 1, right at the end. And the whole world forgot the nightmares, apart from just Wilf, and I don't know if Donna got the nightmares at all or not, but again, it could do with Donna and Wilf coming back in the 60th anniversary, as we've seen. However, this is a big thing, the nightmares, because the voice of Requiem is Dune Machin, again, sorry if I butchered that, who was in the Sarah Jane Adventures in the episode The Nightmare Man, and the the nightmare that she appeared in, that she was the boss of Rani Chandra. So Rani, again, returning in this episode, kind of like references to Rani, and she was her boss that said that she wanted her to reveal Sarah Jane's secret that she fought aliens. So this is a big thing. And again, I thought it would have been great if the Nightmare Man had returned in Now You Hear Me. Anyway, the episode about mental health in the in series 12. The next person to speak up is a woman named Rachel. And she talks about how she remembers that she has a son, but she can't remember what he looks like or what his name even is. And this may be a reference to Ashes to Ashes, which is a continuation of Life on Mars, which John Sim obviously appeared in. But in this one, the main character is Alex Drake, played by Keely Hawes, who in Ashes to Ashes starts to forget her own daughter. She can't remember what she looks like, and even starts to forget her name. So this is a big parallel to Rachel. However, as soon as she mentions that she is a mother, she disappears, and we get this static again, and it is just horrifying that these people are dropping off one by one. Requiem then wants Shauna and Cleo to explain why they're here. However, Cleo glosses over it, and Shauna says that she hasn't lost anyone. But Requiem says, I see loss in your eyes, you have lost someone. And Shauna downplays it, saying, no, it's only, I'm like that, this girl I know, Abby, and I can't be with her, but she's so intelligent and she could do anything she wants. But instead she's doing the podcast with me, us, which is a bit of a slap in the face to Cleo, because again she's downplaying the podcast, and of course that she only mentioned herself first rather than Cleo, whereas Cleo is probably the most important person in this series. However, Requiem wants to know about the podcast, and there are a lot of things that Shauna talks about, but the big ones I picked up were Atmos, which is of course the like navigation carbon zero emission system that the Sontarans set up in the Poison Sky and the Sontaran Stratagem. Also, she talks about Saxon Treefers, which again, the Harold Saxon Master, John Sim. Of course, there's big parallels in here, bringing up the Harold Saxon Prime Minister, and there's also, and she says, Saxon Treefers, which are maybe the people that tried to bring back Harold Saxon in the end of time. However, across this Zoom call, people have been disappearing. They have, they started at 20, and then it immediately went to 18, and then Rachel disappears, which brings it to 16, and then there's this guy, Mohammed, who is still kind of on the screen, but he's just blurry, fuzzy, like kind of translucent. His camera's still on. However, Shauna and no one else, apart from Cleo, can remember Mohammed. But he's there. He's still on the screen, but just kind of blurry, like translucent. However, he disappears just shortly after Shauna mentions space cops. However, and he chimed in with that, however, this could mean that he met Unit or even the Jadoon. Of course, the Jadoon aren't big on stealth, and Unit just, we see they kidnap people, so it's a big thing. However, he then disappears. However, his camera is still on, and Cleo realises now that she is the only one that can remember the redacted people. However, this is at least a couple of episodes after everyone else has already figured that out, Cleo. So, a bit behind. However, we continue with Cleo, as Cleo is probably the main character of this, when Requiem asks about her family. However, this breaks Cleo from writing down everyone's names, as she is concerned that more people will disappear. However, she was writing down their names, and this breaks her from that, with Cleo going to explain about her family, which Cleo, you should really focus on people disappearing from reality rather than just, I'm again, your mental health is important, as I've preached in these breakdowns before, but people are dying here. Anyway, she says that her brother has disappeared, and her dad is likely dead, and her mum has rejected her. However, Requiem says, I shouldn't be so hard on your mum, because to be a parent, you need to be unselfish. You need to bring up your kids right. Your kids will learn from your mistakes, and that's fine. You've got to make the mistakes for your kids to learn, and one day you will know that they will outgrow you. And this is really sad, because Cleo's mum isn't resisting Cleo to be mean, really. It's just because she doesn't want to lose Cleo. She could deal with Cleo flunking her or failing her GCSEs, because that would keep her tied to her mum. However, she can't deal with Cleo being trans, becoming a girl, because then that brings Cleo away from her. That makes her better than her mum is, and her mum can't deal with that. And it's really shocking, because Cleo is doing this, and the way that she has become a girl is outgrowing her mum, and her mum just can't deal with that. So her mum really wants to be a parent more to Cleo. And Requiem says she respects Cleo for this, because Cleo, she's gone through all this, and she's now recognising that her mum maybe wasn't the cause behind her dad's disappearance, and it's just a heartwarming scene that Requiem respects Cleo for making her the choices that she has made. However, Cleo breaks out of this explanation about her family and says it's time for someone else to bear their soul. But everyone else has vanished. Everyone. And that is insane. Shauna and Requiem say that no one is here, and that even the list Cleo has made about all these people has gone. And then we get this static sound again, and Requiem says, listen, Shauna, Cleo, you're in danger. They're coming for you. They're coming for all of us. The doctor can't help you now. I'm coming for you. And then a small explosion, fading into sounds of the 70s. And this is making me think that, especially like the 70s sounds, maybe this is The Wire. Again, she feasted on people because she was hungry and said, I'm coming for you. Maybe this is Cassandra, who had a grudge against the Doctor. However, she did get her redemption arc. Or again, maybe this is the Nightmare Man, and this is another one of his creations. However, after that creepy thing from Requiem, it goes into the Doctor. The Doctor is coming through, and she's looking for Cleo, despite last episode not knowing who Cleo was. And in the first episode, SOS, she was looking for Cleo. However, she says that her name is the Doctor, despite saying in last episode that her head might explode if she tells her name. And again in SOS, she left a message to Cleo saying that her name was the Doctor. So this is just, again, inconsistent. But she leaves another chilling thing. Whatever you do, don't touch the ghosts. Which means that Abby is in massive trouble and Unit is in massive trouble. But Abby was really pushing that Unit were hurting the ghosts, so maybe she'll free them and there will be a rampage of Cybermen or even worse, monsters, but I don't know. But I know that Abby, Cleo and Shauna are in massive danger, and maybe the Doctor will play a bigger role in these final 3 episodes we've got, and I for one can't wait. However, I just want to say again, the music was great. It was sinister, creepy in the Requiem ad. The background badass sound of Cleo standing up to Abby, telling her she was wrong. The distortion of the word mother as Rachel says it. Units showing Abby a recording or showing her this scream. Shauna leading into, I hope Abby's alright with that terrible scream coming out. The longest static sound we have heard yet, as Requiem have talked about Shauna and Cleo, as she talks to Shauna and Cleo. The creepy words she says as it blends into sounds of the 70s, with the Doctor then blending into what the Doctor is saying to Cleo. And this is great. This is probably the best episode we've heard of Doctor Who Redacted yet. Maybe the best episode of Doctor Who yet. But let me know what you think down in the comments below of this episode. If you like this video, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and share it out. And I will see you in the next one.